The first thing I do at a piano, any piano, whether I'm teaching or performing, recording, I have my students do the same thing. It's to be able to sit properly before you even go near the keyboard. I like to sit on maybe half the bench so that you have horizontal mobility. And you should be able to reach the ends of the instrument as best as you can, like this. See, I need to move in a little bit. And then you feel more like you're playing with the piano and not at the piano. There's a difference in that mentality because it's the way you will eventually take sound from the instrument and make it go out that way. I always felt that we're sitting at the worst place possible because all the sound is coming out of the piano and going out to the listener. So we're over here creating it, but we get a good idea of what's happening after a while. But sitting here like this and just grabbing the piano like this, it's like saying hello to a friend, hi friend, and you're at the piano, you're here. And you should be able to feel very comfortable with the expanse from end to end, whether you're short, tall, long arms, short arms, whatever it is, just find your comfort zone at the instrument. Also the height of the bench, sometimes if you're using a wooden bench, that's what it is. Some people put pillows on to make them sit a little higher or not. But to find the right level of comfort for playing, you don't want to be sitting too high and you don't want to be sitting too low because then you're putting stress on different muscles. And you want to feel the most natural way to be able to draw sound from the instrument, whether you're doing a technical regimen or playing pieces. So I like to take a simple G major chord. Well, you could take a C major chord up here too. Both hands or just the right hand. You play the chord and then just sit down. You should feel very relaxed and comfortable without feeling like you're straining to keep your arm up or down. The elbow should really hang to the sides, like as if you're, heaven forbid, in a sling. Hope that never happens. But that's the feeling that you feel, just having the elbows hang very comfortably without any stress, and the shoulders are relaxed. You sit on half the bench for horizontal mobility, as I said before. I like my feet to be just near the pedals, but not back, because once you lift your feet backward or around the legs of the bench, you're starting to get tight. And the secret to developing all of these exercises is to have total relaxation. Otherwise, it spells trouble. And many people have tried doing these, and when they tighten their wrist or their arms or their shoulders, they feel pain, and that's what we want to avoid. So what I do is have zero tension in the legs, zero tension in the arms, and just relax. You could even just lean forward a little, take a deep breath, and then just elevate and just lift a little bit so you feel comfortable. So the diminished seventh chord stretch is one that I basically learned it myself because my teacher, Adele Marcus, taught it to many students. And she also has this regime that she taught her students over many years in Clavier magazine. I have read it, and also there's a wonderful book that Dean Elder, who was a pianist and a journalist, he wrote a big book called Pianists at Play many years ago. And there are technical regimens in there from many artists and teachers, which is fascinating. So what I like to do is take my right hand alone first and put the thumb on C and the pinky on C above it. You start with the C above middle C. And then your fingers gradually just go over the keys in diminished seventh chord, minor thirds. So C to E flat, to F sharp with the third finger, to A with the fourth finger, and C with the pinky. And just feel that comfort of that chord. Now, if your hand is not as wide to reach that chord, not just because some people can reach the octave, but if you have any difficulty with the minor thirds in between, I have a fun chord. I give to young students and also adults who cannot reach that octave as well anymore, or maybe never could. Every hand is different. I just bring the fourth and fifth fingers down a half step. I lowered the fourth finger from A to G sharp and the C to B, and I get this jazzy chord. Kids love it. I love it. It's a lot of fun. And then I will duplicate that chord 2 octaves down in the left hand. So if you're doing hands together, that's what you would do. You would start with left hand B, just a half step below middle C, G sharp, F sharp, E flat, C. And the right hand would be the same, starting an octave above middle C, or this. And I will get to the left hand after this, because if you're doing the full diminished seventh chord stretch spanning an octave, that's not what we do in the left hand. So you have to keep watching in order to find out what that's about. So feet are relaxed, elbows hang, shoulders relaxed, lean slightly forward. And if you need to just hold on to the piano here, give you a sense of being centered at the instrument while you're trying this exercise, you can do that too. All right, so let's go on 60. We grab the chord. The second beat, we put our thumb on the wood below the keys. This is something that I found out myself by trial and error, because there's another exercise with the fourth and fifth fingers where we do that with the thumb on the wood below the keys. It makes a huge difference in stretching the fingers that are vertical fingers. The thumb is not really vertical the same way 2, 3, 4, 5 is, and it works wonders. So on the first beat, I pull the chord. First, I like to just grab that chord, just get used to that, or the other chord, whichever you prefer. I grab the chord, stay in the keys. On the second beat, thumb on the wood below the keys. On the third beat of 60, I raise my pinky finger, the fifth finger up for 2 beats. And then each finger I do 4 times that way, each. And then we'll do double notes. That comes later. So this is how this goes. If you're by the piano, you could try it this way. Give yourself a free measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, thumb, up, 2. Down, 2, up, 2. Down, 2, up, 2. Down, 2, up, 2. Down, fourth finger out, 2. Now, the pinky will bend on most hands. If it doesn't, then okay. But I find that the fourth finger needs to stretch out toward the back of the piano, not up. It bends straight out. And you can feel under the hand the fourth finger stretching out, and the pinky bends. It doesn't matter. And then you do that 4 times. Then we do the third finger 4 times. When we get to the third finger separates the lower part of the hand, thumb and 2, from the upper part of the hand, fourth and fifth. So the third finger stretches up, looks like an airplane going off the tarmac, straight up going north. And when I drop into the key, I drop and pull toward me to reinforce the first joint. I do that 4 times, up, 2, down. When you do the second finger, you could feel the stretch under the finger all the way down into the palm. And that's because your thumb is on the wood below the keys. Up, 2. Pull it towards you, and the thumb then stretches out that way. Hitchhiker finger, if you're old enough to remember that. Down, 2, out, 2. Do this 4 times each. Now I'm going to put my thumb on the wood below the keys, because now comes the most important part of all. When you stretch up to, when you come down, this is the most important part of this exercise. Slide the thumb up a little. Don't move your arm out. Lift the hand up a little at the wrist. You need to relax the wrist slightly. Otherwise, you're in trouble. You can have wrist pain. You can have pain in here. By lifting the wrist a little, relaxes everything else. And that's the way I was able to build this feeling of firmness into the keys. I just taught this to a student here at Brooklyn College the other day. When he was finished, he said, I have such a strong grip. I can't believe it. I said, yeah, try it with your left hand. It was weak as anything. Strong here. It's an incredible thing. And much firmer in the fingertips, so you can play fortissimo and pianissimo, but have the fingertips as strong as possible. So this is the way to do this exercise now. I actually prefer, if you're starting at the first time, 56. Depends on your hand. 56 is a better number on the metronome. It just gives you that extra little space for good stretch and relaxation. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab the chord, thumb on the wood, up, 2, down, relax, up, 2, down, relax, and drop down on the pinky, straight down, curved, relax, up, last one, down, relax, fourth finger out, drop, down, relax, out, 2, down, 2, out, 2. Relax the wrist, out, 2, down, third finger straight up, and reach for the back of the key and pull it towards you. Relax, up, 2, down, 56 is much better, up, 2, down, 2, up, 2, down, second finger straight up, 2, 2, relax, up, 2, relax, 2. And don't prepare the strike, just come right down like a hammer, 2, up, 2, relax, thumb out, stretch the hand, even bend the pinky if you want to. You have a monstrous hand, go to B. And after you feel good stretching, go to A. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going anywhere further. Okay, now put the thumb back on the wood below the keys. Now it gets fun. I thought it was fun before. It is fun. 3 and 5. When I first did this, I felt like I couldn't play the piano because I was lifting other fingers that should have been in the keys and playing them, and I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And it took a while until, so don't expect results immediately. It took a while until I was able to do this. Just relax here a little, count yourself a measure for free. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Down, relax, up, 2. Down, relax, up, 2. Everything else is still, 2. Up. No, I have to do 3 and 5 again. I'm cheating. Now 4 and 2. That's tricky to do. 2. But the fourth and second finger should be equal. You're almost forming a W when you're stretched. Relax, up, 2. Now 3 and 1. Feel them separate and go away from each other. 2. Up, 2. Down, 2. Up, 2. Down, 2. Open the hand, 2. Down, 2. Shake it out. And it feels great. And you're like, wow. And I always tell students, go play a C major scale. And they're like, wow, I really get to the bottom of the keys now because everything is stretched. You know, I used to play for ballet classes a lot. Not only did that help loosen me up for my own music, but what I watched them do was 45 minutes stretching at the bar before they would go into the circle and do their routines because all the muscle groups had to be stretched. And that's very important, even at the piano. And when I ask students, what do you do for warm-up? Oh, I just play a couple of scales or I go to and then I play my pieces. And that, to me, if it works for some, it's great, but for me, it just never worked. So now the left hand. Second and third fingers, because of the shape of the hand, goes up and down. It goes around. So for me, trying that same chord even 1, 2, 3 octaves lower didn't make sense because the second and third fingers then are not quite where they need to be. Although you can do that, but I felt better doing A to A in the left hand. So I start with the thumb on A below middle C, F sharp, minor third down to E flat, minor third down to C, fourth finger, and then pinky on the A. So I got that same shape. You can try both ways and see what feels better for you, either the same C to C, C, E flat, F sharp, A, C, I don't like having the second finger in that position. I prefer it this way because then it shapes the same way the right hand shapes. Everybody's different, but that's my personal preference. So again, what we're going to do is grab the chord on the first beat. We're on 56 still. Second beat, thumb on the wood below the keys, and on the third beat, the fifth finger, the pinky finger, will stretch up, heading northwest, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab, 2, up, 2. Relax, up, 2. Relax, up. Make sure your back is straight. Up, 2. Down, fourth finger out. If you can see that. Down, relax, out, 2. Down, relax, out, 2. Down, relax, out, 2. Now third finger up straight, drop, pull it towards you, up, reach for the back of the key, but always relax after. Pull it, relax, up, 2, up. And when you're stretched, everything's strong, then relax. Feel the stretch underneath, down, relax, up, 2, 2, out, and down, thumb out, down, 2, relax, out, up and down, relax, and feel all the other fingers firmly into the keys. You feel that you're at the bottom of the key. 2, put the thumb back here. Now relax a little bit. So now we'll try double notes. Give yourself a free measure every time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up and down, relax, up, 2. Down, relax, up, 2. Keep your elbow relaxed on the side, up, 2, down. Now 4 and 2, feel them go up, down, relax, up, 2, down, relax, up, 2, feel the stretch, up, 2, down, 2, third, 3 and 1, stretched and down, 2. If you feel again, your hand is bigger, you want to go for the B and the thumb, you can do that, or go for the C. That's a little hard for me to do, up, 2, go to A, 2, and relax, shake it out. Play a scale, I don't know. Play a scale. You feel firmness, you can have a better grip. You just feel as though you've woken up your fingers. It's like shooting energy into each finger when you do these exercises. I have found them to be extremely beneficial, and I can't imagine not doing this diminished seventh chord stretch every day before I play anything. Now, for everybody that wants to try the one that's a little shorter in width, you have the C, the jazzy chord. Now the left hand, you can do, I prefer it really just 2 octaves lower. Out here, if you do the left hand one 3 octaves down, your elbows almost always going to want to jut out. And if you can try this here if you keep consciously aware that the elbow is not doing that in either hand. That's very important, just to hang. But I feel this one here forces you to just keep close to your sides. So it's the same idea with this chord. The right hand is C, E flat, F sharp, G sharp, B. So we'll put the metronome back on. 56 is good, right there. We're going to grab the chord, and on the second beat, just like before, thumb on the wood below the keys, and then we'll do each one. Let's just do 2 times each for now so you get the idea. Because normally you would do 4. Now, when you first do these exercises, you should maybe, just to get the feeling of it, do 1 note or 2 notes each finger only. Just do 2 notes for each finger to get started, because if you do 4 times, you don't want to overstretch or strain. So I would work it from 2 to 3 to 4 times each note, just to cover yourself from any kind of strain or pain. So C, E flat, F sharp, G sharp, B. So give a free measure to ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab the chord. Thumb on the wood below the keys, pinky up and down, 2, up, just like that. And the 4th finger out, 2. 2, relax, up, 2. Come down, curve, 3rd finger straight up, and drop, relax, up, 2. Even just take the wrist and go up and down if you want to get the sensation of the wrist relaxation. Up, 2, and thumb out, 2. 2, bounce, bounce the wrist is another way to say it. So that's that one. Then you can do the 3 and 5. You can do the 4 and 2. You can do the 3 and 1. Okay? So that's that hand. Left hand is the same idea. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab the chord down, pinky up, relax the wrist, up, 2. 4th finger up or out, however feels comfortable. Just feel the stretch a little, gently, gentle stretch, nothing pushed. 2, relax, up, 2, down, relax, 2nd finger up, 2, 2, up, 2, 2. Thumb on B, 2, out, 2. Now 3 and 5, and drop into the keys, relax, up, 2, 2, 4 and 2. Feel that stretch? And with the 3rd finger, you're almost forming a W. 2. Then 3 and 1, same idea. 2, up, 2. So your fingers are almost arched, almost like that. And that's basically the diminished 7th chord stretch, whether you do the larger chord or the smaller chord. After you do the diminished 7th chord stretch here, if you're doing the full chord, and after a while you get bored with that chord, you could change it. Can't change the notes on the piano, but you can move to another chord that fits the same structure, which would be to G. G, B flat, C sharp, E, G. And do the same thing. And in the left hand, it's a similar idea. Instead of doing A to A, you can move down to E, G, B flat, C sharp, and E. And do them all that way. Actually, that feels very comfortable there, where the A, you need to curve your arm a little bit. Maybe the E to E is better. It depends. Everybody's arm is different. So, for me, maybe that's a nice chord to do. Whereas the C to C here feels good. And G to G in the right arm makes me feel a little tighter. But it just moves you away from the comfort zone. But if you're comfortable doing the other, whichever one you like to do, you should be able to do it. Just make sure that you do it every day. And I hope you enjoy doing this exercise, and you will probably notice difference within days of applying this to the piano.